This is Rebel Therapist, a podcast for entrepreneurs who are trained as therapists and who want to level up their businesses, make a bigger impact, feel fulfilled, and be very well paid. I'm your host, Annie Schusler. You might be looking at your finances right now and wanting or needing to double or significantly increase your income. And if you're a therapist in private practice, you might look at your numbers and think you should double your sessions. And you could. You totally could. People need therapy. People are looking for a therapist like you. And you might feel like adding sessions to your schedule is your only way of making more money. But if you're already seeing a lot of clients, and if you're starting to feel like maybe adding more clients to your schedule is going to exhaust you, you're right. Adding more clients, especially doubling your sessions, is going to make you burn out. So if you're seeing 12 or 15 clients right now and you're starting to feel a little bit of dread around sessions, you start to feel a little bit burdened when you look at the week ahead, do not just double your sessions to make more money. Now, if you're excited about filling up your private practice further, don't listen to this. Follow that excitement and do that. Like I said, there are plenty of people who need a therapist like you. But check in with yourself. When you think about doubling your sessions or adding significantly to your sessions every week, what feeling does that bring to your body? Where do you feel it? Does that idea feel good or easeful or spacious in your body or exciting? Or does it feel tight or heavy? Pay attention to that. If you are like so many therapists I know, you might have the time in your schedule where you could fit in more sessions, but you may not have the capacity in other ways. You don't have the energy or the self-care capacity for it. And you might not even have the attention or the focus capacity for more sessions. If you double your sessions or you significantly add more sessions to your week, and you don't have the energy or the focus capacity for it, you are going to burn out. And burnout is a freaking bitch to heal from. So I want to invite you to take a step back and look at your business model. Now, what do I mean by business model? Your business model is basically the way that your business is set up to make you money. So it's the combination of things that you get paid for. If your business model right now is built on a one-on-one private practice model where you get paid for sessions in your private practice, and if that is not sustainable for you, you're in the wrong business model and you're in good company. There is nothing wrong with you. A full private practice might not be the right fit for your nervous system or your particular gifts. And there are other business models. So I needed to hear that really badly years ago, so I'm going to say it again. If a full private practice is not the right business model for you, there is nothing wrong with you, and there are other business models. For years, I thought I should be happy to have 25 or more therapy sessions every week, and that just never worked for me for very long. And then I started helping therapists build their private practices, and I talked to tons of therapists privately, and I got to hear the things that they weren't telling other people about what really works for them and what they really experience. And I discovered that lots of therapists don't find it sustainable to have 25 or more sessions every week. Just like me, they built a business like that, sometimes with my help, and then they discovered it wasn't right for them. And then they would feel guilt or shame like they should want the full private practice they had worked so hard for, and that was so great at paying their bills. But they'd start to feel drained and overwhelmed, and either their work or their life outside of work or both would suffer. And they didn't feel the energy for their work the way that they really wanted and needed to. And this is kind of a secret. Like therapists often don't want to tell people that they feel overwhelmed by 20 sessions a week. They feel guilty about that. They feel ashamed about that. And they don't share it. So then they think they're alone. And there are all these therapists walking around feeling like they're the only ones. They're not. You're not. And if working in a different way, at least some of the time, would be a better fit for you and your nervous system and your gifts, It's time now to start building a different business model. And as I say that, I know it's really hard to carve out time and space to do something different, but it is so important to carve out that time and start building something else so that you're working towards running a business you'll be more fulfilled by and more energized by. The business model I help people create is based on having your own high-touch, niched, outcome-based signature program. And if you listen to this podcast, you've heard me talk a lot about what I mean by that and interview a lot of people with those kinds of programs. If you're someone who loves teaching or facilitating and you'd really love to focus in on a topic you're passionate about, then a signature program might be a really great fit for you. And if this is resonating with you, but then you're feeling overwhelmed by the idea of just how do I get started with that, I want to invite you to have a conversation with your future self. So instead of shutting yourself down and saying, I don't know how, that sounds too hard, I want you to consider having a conversation with your future self. Let's think for a moment about the version of you that is 1 or 2 years from now. So right now, I'm in 2024, so let's picture the you of 2026 or whatever is 2 years out from now. Picture them. I really like developing this relationship with my future self. So what would your future self thank you for getting started now? What would they really be grateful to you for getting started now? Of course, they're going to thank you for finding a way to pay the bills and taking care of all the things that you already always take care of. And what kinds of changes would they really thank you for getting started with? Think about what you could create for them. So ask them right now, ask your future self, what business do you hope that I have built for you? Do you want to run a business with another stream of income, like a signature program? Or do you want to be running a fuller private practice than you've got right now? What do you really want? And see what your future self has to say. If you don't know how to create a signature program, do not let that stop you. I want to remind you that you have already done a lot of things that you didn't know how to do until you started them. Think about a few of those things right now. What are some of the things that you had no idea how to do and now you have done? Or if you're afraid of what somebody else is going to think, that's a thought that comes up for people. Don't let that stop you. You have done so many things that did not please everyone. Think about some of those things that you've done knowing they didn't please everybody. And yeah, there are going to be hard parts to this. There is definitely a learning curve. This is a different kind of business. You're going to learn new ways to serve people, and you're going to be marketing in a way that's really different from marketing a private practice. And there are going to be some twists and turns to it. So just for an example, you might end up choosing a niche and then working with that niche for a while and then deciding to change it. And that's okay. You might feel uncomfortable as you do things you haven't done. Maybe you'll feel uncomfortable with a new level of visibility. I end up hearing from people, from former clients, that they just wish they had realized sooner that it was possible to grow a signature program, and that they're so relieved to have another income source and another place to direct their creative energy, and that they're just so glad that they don't have all their eggs in that private practice basket anymore. So if you know that you want to create a signature program, I want to highly recommend that you don't wait to start it. Don't wait until you've burnt out. Don't set yourself up to kind of stumble along exhausted trying to build something after you've already burnt out. So don't just make little tweaks to a business model that is already showing itself to be unsustainable for you. If private practice is not sustainable for you, don't just keep making little tweaks to it. Consider adding another branch to your business and start building your signature program. So if you want to do that with a lot less mistakes and you want to get there a lot faster with a step-by-step process, I want to invite you to join me in Create Your Program. That is where I help a small group of therapists and healers to create their signature programs that they're really excited to run and then to start selling those programs. This is exactly the process I needed when I was ready to build a business beyond private practice. So head over to rebeltherapist.me/create and get your name on the list so that you hear as soon as registration opens. All right, I will see you next time. I want to thank Ames Palms for editing this podcast. If you found this episode supportive, please do a couple of things. Share it with your favorite therapist or healer. That is absolutely the most important way we reach more people. And if you haven't already, please hit follow and give us 5 stars. That is so helpful to this podcast. And thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next time.